The difference between the almost right word and the right word is really a large matter, said Mark Twain. It's the difference between a lightning bug and the lightning. Shout out to Carol. One of my favorite ones, this one came from Judith, the listener here, earned benefits. We talk about entitlements. What Judith recommends is we need to call Social Security and Medicare earned benefits. Those two words describe exactly what they are. Yes, we are entitled to them, but the GOP has been demonizing that word for years. Thank you, Judith. I think those are terrific words. Here's a different one. You hear people talking about stomping grounds and chomping at the bit. Let me be clear, it's more accurate to say stamping grounds and champing at the bit. I'm happy to be back in my new stamping grounds and champing at the bit to get started. Horses don't chomp on their bits, that would hurt. And if you stomp on the ground, you look like a weirdo. It's more stamping and champing, less stomping and chomping. From Stella, I like less populism and more tribalist, because when we talk populism, usually we're not even talking about stuff that over time is very popular or stuff that is good for the populace, right? It's an inaccurate term as it's been applied over the last 10 years. Tribalist a little bit better. We had a caller who suggested the public house instead of the White House. I liked that one. When folks talk about Confederates, regressive force is interesting. I try not to use words that are like, I don't like the name-calling stuff exactly, not only because I think we got to get along a little bit, but also because I think it's not as persuasive. I think I want to try, relatively speaking, pretty accurate terms when we look for useful words that try to communicate. I do like the word Confederates when it comes to the allies of this current president, of people who want to sort of, the MAWA call that just happened, Make America's White Again. I also want to clear out the difference between to flesh out and to flush out. To flesh out is to give something substance, to make it fuller or more nearly complete. To flush out is to cause it to leave a hiding place. For example, the birds were flushed out of a tree. It can also be used figuratively to flush out the truth, as distinct from to flesh out a skeleton, to flesh out an idea, to flesh out a proposal or a program. Let's fight against oppression, and when we do, let's use truth. And if there are word games, let's call out the word games and offer counters. Let's not fall into word traps. Let's not call someone a shooter when they are a murderer. Frank Luntz and George Lakoff made word choice and framing famous. It's less out of the discussion now. It is no less important. Let's not say, here's one of the best ones I've heard from a listener here. I learned it, I think it was 7, 8 years ago, 9 maybe, when I was just on X-ray. It's not free speech when what we mean is purchased speech. It's not free speech when what we mean is purchased speech. Purchased speech as distinct from free speech. We're talking about Citizens United or otherwise. Love that one. Here's another one. You hear a lot about norms. Anytime you hear somebody who's trying to defend democracy talking about norms, please reserve your norms for cheers, okay? What we're talking about is principles. What we're talking about is principles. Who wants what normal is? Maybe some powerful people like normal, maybe a lot of people, but not everybody likes normal. Who the heck knows what a norm is? Who knows what the norms are supposed to be? How much do they care? What's at stake if a norm changes? How good is normal? Let's be clear. What we want to fight for is principles, democratic principles, not just democratic norms, not just American norms, but American principles, not just governance norms, but governance principles. Those are just a couple. Another one that came from here, it wasn't the Mueller investigation, not have been the Trump corruption investigation. That came from a caller right here a few years back. Thanks for that.